take some time to recognize our partners. You did receive in the folders information on Team Snap. They are a fundraising and communication tool that we encourage everybody to take a look at. Sports Imports, they are your net systems and other equipment providers that we do have a great partnership with. Team Extreme, Brian Kenny is an amazing team building experience presenter. He will come out to your club facility and do presentations similar to what Mark is going to talk about. And we're hopefully expanding that opportunity more than just 4 clubs this year. We're going to be upping that number, and again, that is free to you guys. Try to hit next slide there. We're gonna just talk about Huddle really quick. We do encourage you to consider using Huddle for all of your video capture and video streaming and statistical needs. When you guys get this link sent to you, this slideshow, click that video. It's about a 5-minute video about how its integration with Balltime is making their AI even more efficient. And I use it for high school, and it's pretty darn cool. And it has improved accuracy of the tracking of their stuff. Hit the next one, I believe.
So when you're talking about Huddle, it's similar.
All right, we had an amazing new software on site at All-Star for you guys who were there. You saw these scoreboards out in the lobby or on your phones. It is called Scoreboard. Those are 2 zeros in place of the O's. Ben has been an amazing partner since day one when he came to us and said, hey, I've got this idea to help your events, display scores on mobile devices, on TVs and lobbies in a shared space. It is spectacular and so much user-friendly that we are encouraging tournament directors and facility owners to consider using Ben and Scoreboard, because what this allows you to do, tournaments always run on time, right?
And you can always see the score no matter
And you
where
can
you're
always see the
standing.
score no matter what, right? This right here is so cool because you can pull up court 7 at at 1 o'clock and see where they're at to see if you should show up early for your 2 o'clock match, or are they running 2 hours behind schedule. It's so cool. The refs loved it because the refs in the ref room knew the exact score on any. It just required an Amazon Fire tablet and all the things. The kids are used to hitting the thing on Baller TV anyway. Now this goes out to whatever device is capturing. You have it on your phone. We used it at All-Star, and I was able to stand by court 8, watch the boys while I'm seeing score updates on court 19 and 20 from the girls. It's a club director's dream because you can literally be in 18 places at once, or however many courts you need to monitor at once. So we definitely want to highlight the scoreboard. Yes, Aaron?
We had it also in the ref room, and it was awesome because you knew exactly when you had to go check on your court every 10 minutes to see where they were.
We had
So
a
great.
meeting, we had a meeting with them last week, and we're working on a potential partnership, just to help offset some of the costs, help purchase some of the hardware, things like that. So more information to come on that, but in the meantime, check it out, cause it's pretty cool. And it's the guy who developed is a club parent in Wisconsin.
He gets it. All right, and we are going to now welcome Mark Rubinski to podium. He's going to plug in the camera, so I'm going to unhook right there. Mark is a longtime teacher, coach, official for over 30 years. He founded this company called 180 Return to Sportsmanship, and we've been partnering with Mark for about 4 years when I met him at the WADA conference. 180 is dedicated to sportsmanship and just the overall role it plays in athletic and character development. Mark has probably done about 20 presentations to Badger Region clubs over the last 4 years, and we're happy to have him here today. I'm going to keep procrastinating and talking. Unless Mark, you could go live here without your presents.
Did you all notice how he emphasized a long time teacher? Well, it's never a presentation until the technology fails, right? But we'll keep going. I'm from New Lisbon, so not too far away from here. This is actually really refreshing for me to come to an event that's so close for me. Usually everything is 2.5 hours from from where I live. And actually grew up in New Auburn, Wisconsin, so some of you folks from the Northland, from the Northwoods, I feel you, I know where you're at. 180 is a grassroots sportsmanship movement that I started back in 2015 because I was really concerned with how athletics were going, how parents seemed to be getting more frustrated and sometimes nastier, how kids were not controlling their emotions as well as they should have, and sometimes it was coaches too. And I can remember going to youth tournaments with my own kids, coming back very frustrated, yelling, "Why does someone do something about this sportsmanship problem? It's just getting worse." And finally, after years of nagging, my wife said to me, "What are you doing? You come in here and you complain. Get out and do something positive or quit complaining about it." And so I did start with 180. I'm going to actually be talking to you about two different partnerships today. The partnership that I have with 180 with Badger Region Volleyball, and then the partnership that Brian alluded to with Brian Kenny from Team Extreme. And while they're trying to continue working on the technology stuff, which may or may not work, Brian Kenny is a team building guru based out of the Wisconsin Dells area, and Brian travels throughout the state and is really heavily invested in volleyball at all levels, doing team building workshops and working with volleyball players and other teams, but volleyball players all the way from middle school sports, all the way through like UW Eau Claire. He works with their volleyball team and a number of the schools throughout the WIAC. And this is the second year of the partnership that he has with Badger Region. Brian and I are friends, and we're kind of in the same industry. We speak to coaches and we speak to student athletes and organizations, but we're not really competitors with one another. We're complementary services. Where Brian works a lot with hands-on activities and workshops that might be a couple hours long, and moving kids around and explaining the traits that he's trying to teach with the games and activities that he does. My work is a little bit more with a larger audience. Okay, so I do have keynote presentations and do interactive, engaging workshops for student athletes, but I also do some workshop training for coaches, and I have a presentation that's primary geared towards parents. And so Brian and I oftentimes work together. There you go. You guys are awesome, thank you. Brian and I oftentimes work together. Actually, Brian and I, like for the third time, we work together at times, or you can work independently with us. You can book through Badger Region, Brian or myself, and we even have a number of clubs that have booked both of us to do work together. If you have like a bigger kickoff event that you might do, like for instance, for Milwaukee Sting, Brian and I both worked collaboratively. He worked with some of the kids, and I worked with a different group, and then we rotated them and flipped them around, and it was a whole day. It was more like there were 600 people throughout the course of the day. But I've also worked with Team Rally and some teams that are smaller, and those are wonderful experiences for kids too. So I know that Brian and I can both work with any size audience that your club size, whatever club size you have, we're comfortable working with, whether it's a small group or whether it's a large group. So that's Brian. I just want to mention too that Brian's the author of 4 different books, and I know that he's having some conversation. He's having some conversations about possibly sharing some of that information with your clubs and with Badger Region too. Now we're going to move on to me, and I already told you kind of the differences and kind of the work that I do. My work is focusing really on character development with kids. It's working on the concept of winning should always be a target. You always compete at the highest level, and that's how you respect the sport and the effort that everybody puts in. But winning should never be the only target that you're shooting for. I focus a lot on culture, and try and leave strategies behind for teams and for clubs, to not only hear it that one night that I'm there, but how can we keep that message going throughout the year and from year after year? How do we create common language within your club, your goals and philosophies that we can use that can help reinforce the positive culture that we want? And really, a real important point that I try and make is competing with character actually gives you a competitive advantage. It's not a sign of weakness to be a good sport. You know, here's where coachability and character creates a competitive advantage, because you deal with a lot of adversity, right? There's good times, but there's ebb and flow. There's good times and there's challenging times. And the quicker that you can pull yourself out of that negative mind space and pull your teammates out of it and pull together and refocus and galvanize and unify on your goal, the more competitive that you're gonna be. And so rather than viewing being a good sport, like some people take a look at that and they try and turn that into a negative or a weakness, I don't think it's that. I think it's actually the exact opposite of that. So that's the kind of language and conversation that I bring to your club when I talk to your club community. Okay. That's the wrong one, yeah. Thank you. So for me, there's some familiar faces in here it's been a couple of years since I've been to your places, but I have been to your clubs. And then there are some new faces. I'm glad to see all of you. My work with Badger Region has really evolved too. When I came on board 3 years ago, this will be the start of the 4th year, I brought one presentation to bring in clubs. And I'm like, well, if I get to 140 clubs, I'll be done by then, right? But what I found is that when I was able to share the message with people, oftentimes they wanted more messaging and they wanted to bring me back additional years. So I developed additional presentations and live events that allow me to continue the relationship with you as long as you want to have that relationship. So for coaches, I have a presentation called Coaching with Heart. It's not anything to do with coaching the X's and O's and the skills of volleyball, but it's about coaching kids and coaching the whole kid. And I did that with Adversity last year. It went over extremely well. They brought their whole coaching staff in, and that's how they utilized their session with Badger Region. So if that is something that is of interest to you, if you wanted to bring your coaching staff together and do something that's foundational, that's an opportunity for you. Time to Rise is a parent-focused presentation, meaning that your parents and your kids and your coaches will all get great information and gain knowledge from that presentation, but I'm talking kind of directly to those parents on how do we become a more supportive sports parent? How do we do it in the right way? What does it look like? And what are the impacts if we do it the wrong way? Well, 70% of kids quit organized sports by the time they're 13 years old. We have officiating shortages in pretty much every sport. And we have coaches that walk away from the profession a lot earlier. And that all has to do with, in some form or fashion, relationships and how people feel valued or treated by others. And so that's a presentation for parents. And then there's 3 different ones for student athletes. The primary foundational piece that I've been sharing with Badger Region is Coach Plays Faves. Faithful, accountable, versatile, and enthusiastic. So it takes character traits and talks about what they are, what they look like in action, and why they're important to you as a student athlete and to your team. Becoming your own GOAT. GOAT is another acronym. It stands for growth mindset. It stands, well, I won't go through every one of them. Anyway, it's about becoming the best version of yourself, as opposed to worrying about becoming the best volleyball player ever. Becoming the best you as the first step to becoming the best volleyball player that you can be, and so on. And then control your controllables with A2E2. That's attitude, that's accountability, that's energy, that's enthusiasm, and those are those work traits, those strategic work traits that feed into making you a better individual and a better team. So all kinds of different choices. Over the 3 years, I've had the pleasure of growing in numbers of presentations, which means that the message is something that that people are finding value in within Badger Region Volleyball. You can see year 1 all the way to year 3. This upcoming year for year 4, I am contracted for 10 presentations. And when I say contracted for, Badger Region has graciously picked up the tab for myself, has graciously picked up the tab for Brian Kenny to come in and deliver our messages to your clubs for free, to you, free to you. The catch is that there's only one of me and there's only one of Brian, and we only have X amount of opportunities available. So the process would be, if you think you'd like to learn more or be considered to have one of us come in or both of us come into your club, you would reach out to membership and say we're interested in a presentation. They would forward it on to Brian or to myself, whoever it's most appropriate for, whoever it's directed towards. And then we would contact you directly and we would set up a time to come to your club at a time that works best for you and do the presentation. My presentations are an hour. Something that I offered up to Badger Region clubs last year was, if I'm coming to your club and Badger is sponsoring that presentation, I will give you, for 1/3 of the cost that I normally charge, I'll give you a second presentation if you'd like to. So 3 clubs last year had me speak to student athletes and then had me speak to parents separately. So they took the kids and did something different when I was speaking to the parents. And so that could be an option for you if, again, you have kind of like an event or a kickoff day, or if you want to do that in an evening. Would be happy to kind of make that work for you. Brian?
Can you go back one, Michaela? Just for clarification, you will see some clubs appear in more than one column, Sting and Adversity and 414 Milwaukee. We get 15 to 20 requests by Mark each year. However, sometimes the dates just don't work out, and Mark and us and the club just can't find a unifying date. That's why, all right, we kind of go down. Sting does not just get moved up because whatever. It's just they were available and Mark was available. And those other 5 or 6 clubs, they're literally on the waiting list already for this year. They still need to resubmit, but they will be at the top of the list for Mark to coordinate a date with. They don't get a third or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So there is a large number of people, clubs that request this. So please email the membership at badgervolleyball.org and we will get you to the front of the line as fast as possible.
And there's also times where, I don't think they're listed, is sometimes clubs in the similar area will coordinate and be like, hey, let's do this together. You know, if somebody's got a gym and say, hey, bring your parents in, bring your coaches in, or the coaches are, I know they've definitely done. So just talk with people around you too, because maybe that'll just make it more efficient, for Mark, and then allow more people to be reached.
I'm a retired teacher and coach, and so my time is my own and my schedule is my own. I'm very flexible on days of the week or weekend, times, any of those things, whatever works best for you. And again, whether you're 10 minutes away or whether you're 3 hours away, I'm still happy and grateful to make the trip to see your club. Okay? So let me know. I mean, last year I went all the way down to Bell City, Racine, all the way up to Cornell and Shawano and areas up in there and everywhere in between. So wherever you're at, I'd be happy to come and see you. One of the very exciting pieces that's new this year to our partnership is after 12 years of talking about it, I finally wrote the book I talked about writing. And it's an ebook, and it's called Seeking Sportsmanship. And in essence, it's culture creation. Sportsmanship is that place that we all want to get to with our culture, where kids have a great experience and everybody that's part of the journey has an enhanced experience in helping them get there. And so the book kind of chronicles the student athlete path, the parent path, the coaching path, and the spectator path, all heading towards and meeting towards meeting sportsmanship, leading everybody to that same spot. And Badger Region, in their ongoing support of sportsmanship and character education as part of volleyball, they have purchased licensing for every club in Badger Region for free. And that's a tremendous commitment on their part to do that. And we're gonna work together on a distribution plan, but I just want you to know, it's an ebook that's emailable. And your licensing that you will have for your club is every one of your coaches and every one of your student athletes will be legally licensed to have that device, or to have that ebook. And that can be used on a computing device. It looks great on a phone. So some of the character work, if you decide that you're gonna utilize it above and beyond when you be together with kids, it's accessible now for everybody that's got those devices. Yeah, can we? Yeah, I need to pop off this for just one second.
You're gonna bring more lifesavers.
I just wanna take you, I'm not gonna take you through the entire book, of course, but I just want you to kind of get a sense. So I alluded, why did I lose it? Oh, for gosh sakes. Alright, I'll just talk about it. So, within the book, for instance, what I was trying to pull up for you is, My Coach Plays Faves. That's one of the presentations. So there's like a part of the student athlete chapter is My Coach Plays Faves. And it starts out with an overview page of what that means. And then there's a personal story, a personal connection of why I feel that is important for people to know about and to learn. And then there's a page for each acronym, for the F, for the A, for the V, for the E. And then at the end of the chapter, there's reflection questions that you can use with your kids, or you can use with your coaches or your parents or whoever you're gonna have the conversation with. There's also a section in the back called Speaking Sportsmanship. I think that sharing common language is incredibly important. Creating it and sharing common language is incredibly important. So I've taken all the language from the book and I've put it in one spot for you to easily refer back to. Additionally, there's like 14 different team type activities all laid out in the back section of the book that tie directly into the content of the book. This book is appropriately written for probably about 10 years old on up to people my age and older. So it's written in a language and it's written with reflection built in and opportunities for you to guide conversation or for it to be self-guided. And so I'm very excited about this opportunity for all of you, for all 137 clubs or 140 clubs that have an opportunity to work with it. Don't worry about it, guys, don't worry about it. I'm about done. I will help you, for anybody who wants some assistance, I will help you with ideas and ways to utilize that book if you need or want that from me. I have all kinds of strategies and ways and places that it can fit into the work that you do. And I'll be happy to do that, one-on-one with you or whatever the case may be. If I come out to your club and do a presentation and you want me to stay longer because you want to get together with your coaches and maybe talk about how to utilize that, I'm happy to do that. There's not going to be any charge for that if I'm coming there. There's no charge if we talk on the phone, and there's no charge if I'm already coming there to your site. I just want you to be able to utilize and work with the kids to impact kids and impact coaches and impact lives. With that being said, I talk really fast. I'm sorry the technology didn't work.
Hey.
Yeah, there it is. Great. That's fine. Do you have any questions for me? Last year, all 10 presentations were booked between September and the first week of October, and they were all done by the end of December. I mean, that's how, when people started deciding that they wanted to pursue this, it's gonna happen really quickly. So if you think that this is something that is of interest to you and would benefit your club, or you just wanna learn more, I would encourage you maybe to contact, Scott, and let him know that you're interested, and then you and I can take it from there. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna switch technologies again, huh? Now, we are on to our final set of slides here, which are emails to submitted questions.
We think
I
we've got
think
them
we've
all.
answered them all.
If there's any other questions that either didn't get answered, or if anybody else has anything.
Yes. Yes, anything in regards to the meeting itself, we will stick around, obviously, staff will, for any private questions that you wanna ask one-on-one. Mark will stay here.
Yep.
If you wanted to introduce yourself to him and start to, devise a plan, I think we would probably give priority. Michaela and I and Scott can work together on getting you scheduled if you're here in this room, getting an early bid to getting Mark booked, for you. We also just wanna, recognize one other, partner that was not on the slideshow, and that is Judah Wenzel. Judah was here in person at this meeting last year when it was in Waukesha. Judah is the owner and, founder of Dynamic Spark. We sent out an email earlier this week, I believe, or possibly last Wednesday, of him digesting, the Southport Volleyball Club website. That's the one that I coach for. Just if you have any needs in the website design or SEO world, Judah's a great resource to have. He worked with, I think, 2 clubs last year following last year's meeting, to go through their website to make it more user-friendly and such, and we encourage you to contact him. His link is under the, Partners in Shop link on our website. So, I think that is all. Does anybody have any questions about any topic except trials?
What? Trials. Not trials. I just have a question about going to tournaments as a coach, not the director part of it, but are all tournaments, and I do believe it was a USAV, I do believe, are they all supposed to use the same score sheets? Because, yeah, I coached 12s, and I went to a tournament, and I got there and I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, I can't remember what state they said uses this.
There was a symbol, sorry to interrupt.
What is it?
So there are some states that do use, during COVID, there was an alternate score sheet, a simple score sheet. And so tournaments, I believe, Kelly, are supposed to be back on the normal score sheet, but some have, some states have, and some regions have stuck with the simplified score sheet.
Well, she said she did it, cause I was like, what is this? And she's like, well, if they're 12, it's like, yeah, but we teach them. So then we ran into the problem, we're playing, and I think we had an injury, and it's like, tell me who went in for so-and-so. And they're like, we're not keeping that. We can't even tell you that. And it was just like, well, that kinda stinks. So what do we do when we run into something like that?
Yes, so if you run into something like that, send an email to membership like that day.
Okay.
And then Sarah can get in touch with either Aaron or another official that's at that event.
Okay.
That can kind of dig around, see what's going on, and then we can work with the tournament director to make sure that they're educated on what score sheet should be used. Aaron, what else do you have to add?
Please use the USAV score.
Do you know about that? Do you know about who I'm talking about?
I don't, that was not.
Okay, and we didn't go back there this year. My team wasn't thrilled with the facility, colder than cold, and it was just a facility, and it's like, we like going because it's a small one for our girls, but I was just like, what the hayride is this?
But just let us know if something comes up like that from any, at any event, just because you guys are kind of our eyes on the ground sometimes. Sometimes we don't know, sometimes the tournament director doesn't know, sometimes the site director, isn't informed, so the more we can help educate, to do the right thing, because you're right, if it affects the play or the people or, your experience, obviously we wanna make that as best as we can.
And then another thing, as a tournament director, I know we're supposed to teach our kids how to do it, and we do. I mean, we spend a whole Sunday teaching everybody how to do it and repping the whole ball wax. A lot of clubs in our area use college kids to be the coaches. Last year was the first year, and I think I've been running tournaments for 13 years. I literally had to go over to a line judge to take her phone away from her. Because coaches are not staying in the gym, even though we tell them to stay in the gym. They're not watching their kids. And then we're the biatches when we say something. So I, as a tournament director, I really wanna tell these coaches they've gotta do something with their club directors, with their coaches and, you know, following the rules. Because they make us seem the bad person when we're enforcing no phones at the table, no phones on line judging. That one was a new one for me.
Yep, and the officials can also help administer.
That's where it should start with the official in that situation, that's part of the work team, he's responsible for the work team. He is in the rules that they can't have social media, it probably is in the rules for the tournament that the coach has to stay in the area or be at the desk. So again, that starts with the official, if the official can't get it handled, then the tournament director can step in and handle it as well. And then we should also find out, send us an email what club it is, and the club directors want to know that situation. Going back to the simple score sheet, there are some things that could possibly happen where I could see the simple score sheet being used. Team drops in the morning and you got parents that are officiating or don't have a work team, and you gotta share work teams to courts or something, you might try to simplify something. If it's something like that, don't get so, but if their general situation is that they wanna use a different score sheet, we need to know about that. If it's an emergency situation where they're just trying to make the day get through it because of weather or cancellation, don't worry about those things, let's just get through the day, let's try to make it as simple as we can to make that day work. But if it's something they're trying to run consistently, then we should figure out why. Do you agree with that, Karen?
Yeah, 100%. And also just with that, as club directors, please just remind your coaches of those things too, stay by the court. And when they're at the table, please, doing a job, please ask them no phones. I was walking around Baton Rouge and Champs, and there was 3 coaches not paying attention, all 3 of them were on their phone at the table, and they missed points, coaches were pissed. It was not a good situation, and I was not happy either, and then, of course, I'm the bad guy, I had to go over and be like, you guys can't use your phones.
I even got it.
So, as club directors, please remind.
I'm not the normal coach. I don't care if you're not the normal coach or not, you're the coach for the day. It may not be your normal team.
I just wanna make one more final plug for the program sheet that was in your guys' folder. I wanna highly encourage you all to have your coaches and yourselves apply and be a part of our HP All-Star program. We pretty much accept all coaches who apply into our, what we call, training session coaches, you know, to help get them exposed to high-level coaches. Most all of our coaches have coaching experience in some capacity. So if you wanna also learn from great people, help out at the tryouts, help out and get paid if you work at the one-day training sessions, both boys and girls. We had an awesome experience. I don't think we spent enough time talking about how awesome Madison was for our all-star event. We finished with a record of 32-16 for across all our teams. We had awesome officials, we had awesome coaches. We came home with 3 medals. Which was 4th most among all regions. So he did really, really well, and thank you all who supported our All-Star program.
Can we get like clear or cleaner or, awesome or better interpretation of the step-in rule for the 1200? Cause we had a 10 and 11, tournament, match go 47, 45.
Well, we talked about that.
Yeah, so
Yep.
when you have 10 and 11-year-olds that are exhausted after their 3rd match, and once they get 20, they can't serve from the step-in rule anymore, I can reevaluate that.
Board members take note, we'll discuss. We can get that on the agenda for September 14th.
I mean, the parents here is like so fun.
Yeah, we'll find something else.
At some point, like, we should make the parents serve.